All right, guys, here's the installation video for the new ProLock 360 system from Nuetech. So obviously you'll need the kit, and it comes with the 9 arched beadlocks. Actually came with 9 or 10 10mm nuts and one 14mm nut for the valve stem, and caps for the smaller beadlocks and a cap for the bigger beadlock. And it came with this metal plate to help with installation of the tire. So you got 9 of these. The air valve one is a 14mm nut, so you'll need a 14mm ratchet with socket or wrench. And then all the rest, the remaining 8 beadlocks, are 10mm nuts. So you'll need a 10mm socket with ratchet or wrench. You also can use some sandpaper or a deburring tool. I have a deburring tool, so this is what I'll use to ream out the holes when I drill them in the rim. Or you can use a round file. Also a 1/4 inch torque wrench set to 8 foot-pounds for tightening down all the nuts. A center punch for marking your holes. I'm going to use a air ratchet to help get the nuts on quicker. Of course, a drill. And then some Maxima SC1 plastic polish, or the Tusk equivalent, which is the first line gloss coat. You can use Armor All, Tire Wet, Soapy Water. I'm probably just going to use this. And then you need a 7/16 drill bit to drill out the existing valve stem hole. So you're going to drill it bigger than it already is. Then you're going to drill your other 8 remaining holes, which there is a high likelihood that 4 spokes each way of the existing valve stem hole will already have another valve stem hole for either the rim lock, or the rim lock. Different rims have different holes pre-drilled, so make use of that. But either way, you're gonna ream that one out or drill that one out to 5/16. And then I have a 3/16 pilot drill bit to drill the hole initially, and then I'll go up to 7/16 for the 8 rim locks. And then I'll use the bigger 7/16 for the initial hole, which is the valve stem. Other than that, what you're going to want to do is find your existing rim lock hole. So as I was saying earlier, you got this existing hole, and I have another one there. So I'm going to utilize both of those. And ultimately, you're going to want to go 4 spokes each direction, which will equal out to have a total of 9 rim locks spaced out every 4 spokes. And you're going to want to drill them in what they call the open area. So see how the spokes are angled away from each other, leaves a bigger opening, versus this would be an example of not an open area because the spokes are angling in. So for example, this is the original hole. I'm going to drill that out to 7/16, and I count 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be the second hole, which coincidentally I already have one there, so I'm going to drill that out to 5/16 if it's not already there, and just keep on moving around. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be the next one, and so on. I got my rim cleaned up. I'm going to use a center punch and make sure that you get each hole centered as best you can within each open area. So you just want to be as centered as you can, and then drill with the pilot bit, and then go bigger with the next size bit. So all right, that's it for now. Right, so getting the center punch, moving on, 4 spokes, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's gonna be the open area. I'm going to center it visually between the 2 nipples here. Make sure it looks centered, looking through the spokes, and it does. And make sure it's centered left to right here. That looks dang good right there. Get a couple punches. Got a nice mark there. Let's Go slow here. There's my pilot hole. Change out my drill bits. For my 5/16. Double check that it fits. It's fine. So you do that all the way around. It's going to be 9 total holes. 1 hole, or the first one, is your valve stem. The other 8 are the smaller, we'll call them 5/16 holes. So don't be afraid to use some lube or WD-40 to help prolong the life of your drill bit, and go slow so it doesn't get hot. All right, I'm going to continue on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Should be an open area. It is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the start. A little bit of lube. Okay, now to go around and open the pilot bit to the 5/16. So here's my 2 originals. Just going to clean off the aluminum shavings and deburr it. That's it. Make sure you clean all the shavings off so it doesn't mess up the foam pad on each of the bead locks. You can use compressed air too if you want, or just go wash it off. So once you have all your bead locks in place, you're going to drop your rim into your tire, which I'll show. So you end up having the tire bead on this side, the tire bead on this side. Then you spoon the bead onto the rim and under the rim locks on both sides. Work your way around to the valve stem bead lock and make sure that that bead is, you know, falling down into the drop area, which is this portion here, so it goes far down in there. And start tightening each bead lock 4 turns. And you're gonna have to do a couple revolutions of those 4 turns till it's very snug. You do that on both sides. After that, inflate the tire to 30 PSI. Go around and torque all the nuts to 8 foot-pounds, which is 90 inch-pounds. And then they say that if there's any leaks left, you can look for soapy water, or with soapy water. You can tighten down that particular closest rim lock to stop the leaks. And if you do have a small leak, they say that after the first ride and the first heat cycle, it'll usually settle that tire in and stop those leaks. All right, so I got the bead lubed up. So I'm gonna give these just another little squirt. Use this to help guide the tire down in. Got my rotation arrow going up the right way, so this will be the sprocket side. So I think it'll be easier to do the non-sprocket side, but I'll rotate it so you guys can see. Flip this over here. And also you want to drop this entire wheel down into the rim. Use some spoons to help open this up. that. Just keep working around. So it's completely in the tire. Like that. That's what you want. So now the whole wheel is inside of the tire. Now we're going to throw it on the rubber Honda. Start putting things on. Okay. Pick an area. This will be a holding spot, hopefully. Help that fall down into the groove, so pop over your here. Last one. Flip it over to the other side. Same thing. Help that to fall down in the drop. All right, now we're ready to start tightening. All right, so one thing I forgot to do when I was mounting the tire earlier is to put some tire sealant in there. You want to use tire sealant, not tube sealant. The tire sealant's thicker and it has little black pieces of rubber to help seal tires. So you're going to put 8 ounces in. This is a 32-ounce bottle. So I'm going to put it in until it gets down to where it says 24. So I've already pulled the bead back off in a little section. Stick the tube in and squirt 8 ounces in there. I still got about half of that more to go. What we got? A little more. All right, there's 28 ounces, or excuse me, 8 ounces. So I'll pop that bead back on. There you go. Now, I'm going to start at the valve stem, which is this one. Make sure that it's sucked up into the bead area. Put my 14mm socket on. Alright, there you go there. We'll start working around. I'm filling on the bottom side too. Alright, I have all the nuts torqued to 80 inch-pounds. I'm going all the way up to 96, we'll just call it 95 inch-pounds right now. So the last revolution. Start at the valve stem. Tight. I don't normally use a torque wrench too, but this is pretty important here. At least the first time, so you know what it feels like. All right, there we go. So 30 PSI, torque to 96 inch-pounds, 8 foot-pounds. Go ahead and throw some soapy water, see if there's any leaks anywhere. Don't see any leaks there. And by the way, I went in the house for 10 or 15 minutes to eat dinner. I came back out and it was the same PSI I left it at, so it doesn't have a leak. No leaks. All right. So I'm going to let the air out from 30 PSI down to 15 and recheck the torque. And then from there I'll go down to probably start at 4, work down to 2, test 1, test 0, see how everything feels. All right, there's 15 PSI. Let's go around and check all these. So it looks like all of them are going to be about a revolution, or half a revolution loose now. Check the valve stand one more time. Here we go. All right, let's drop her down. Guess I could have just taken the valve stem out, but it would have shot green slime everywhere, so I'll just do this. All right, there's 2 PSI. All right, I lowered it down to 2 PSI. Pretty squishy. Feels nice. I'd probably even go lower than that. I'd probably go down to 1. Here's 1. Yeah. Look at that. Nice. All right, well, there's the install. Let me know if you have any questions.